I think it was Sonia Ricotti who said, this is the worst thing. My whole life is crumbling in front of me and I have no idea where I'm going, but I'm going to tell you things are going to get better because there is no way in hell I went through all this crap for no reason. I'm going to make it be a reason. And I said, you know what? That's a good philosophy to have.
Cue music. Places, everybody places. We're starting in 3, 2.
Welcome to the Autoimmune Hour, where we look at the rise of autoimmune disorders. I've brought together top experts that range from doctors, specialists, nutritionists, researchers, and even those recovering from autoimmune to bring you the latest, most up-to-date information about autoimmunity and how to live your life uninterrupted.
Thank you for joining us here on the Autoimmune Hour with Sharon Sayler. Always seek sound legal, medical, and or professional advice regarding any problems, conditions, and any of the recommendations you see, hear, or read here on the Autoimmune Hour, Understanding Autoimmune, and Life Interrupted Radio. Join the Autoimmune Hour's Courage Club. Sign up now at understandingautoimmune.com. Now, back to your host, Sharon Sayler.
Well, welcome everyone to the Autoimmune Hour. I'm Sharon Sayler from SharonSayler.com, and I'm so thrilled to be here again. We took a little hiatus there for a couple of weeks, but we're back now, and oh my goodness, I have just been having a great time. You know, it's been a little chilly here, but I'm still going out for walks and trying to keep up with all of the good health things that we know. And I've got my favorite chai tea here, so I'll be sipping on that too. I've got oat milk in it today. And yeah, no, I didn't make the oat milk this time. Usually, you guys know I make my own almond milk and stuff. This time I tried the oat milk. It's pretty good. And always read the labels of these fancy milks that you buy, okay? Because I was surprised. It was not easy to find one that didn't have a lot of other stuff in it. But anyway, that's enough about what's going on here. Hope you're having a fantastic time. And I've got one of my favorite guests and a long time friend. Well, we won't go into how long, but a longtime friend of mine. Her name is Laurie Lawson, and she has an amazing bio. She's a certified empowerment coach from the Institute of Professional Excellence in Coaching, as well as a professional certified coach from the ICF and a certified EQ mentor coach. I could just go on and on. She's also a certified trainer in Points for You, the coaching game. And she also has a wonderful show called Coach Chat. And I just love that. I've been on it a couple of times and always have a good time. And one thing Laurie and I do is just like to laugh at the irony of life sometimes. So we might be laughing a little bit through this. Hope that you laugh along with us. And one of the things I wanted to ask Laurie to come back on the show about is things are starting to change again. And they're starting to lift mask mandates and things like that. And this isn't about the politics of it, okay? Because she's so great with empowering us to be our very best. I noticed that as things are changing, once again, I said, Laurie, here I am having to adjust to another new normal. And I'm not quite comfortable yet. That I really feel comfortable going out without my mask and other things. And this isn't about the politics. You guys just decide for yourself what you're comfortable with. But I thought, have Laurie on, talk a little bit about, once again, readjusting to another normal. And so welcome, Laurie. Thanks for being on the show to help me walk through this.
Thank you. I love your show, and I'm honored to be a guest. So thank you for thinking of me during these crazy times.
Oh, yes, I know. Now you live in a very large East Coast city, so it's probably even a little more. I just find I'm not quite ready. I'm curious of myself. Is that because of my immune compromised, or have I just habituated not to be around crowds, or maybe all of the above? I don't know.
Well, you're right. I live in New York City, like a block from Times Square. So yeah, I'm definitely used to crowds, but not in the last 2 years. So I've gotten used to things thinning out. But the theater gradually came back. And when you're talking about mask mandates, I think today is the day that children no longer have to wear a mask to school. But it can be opted. The parents can decide that they can. The restaurants are thinking about dropping the mask mandate, and they are worried because Some people are thrilled, and other people are like, I don't want to eat inside with people who haven't been. Well, we had to show our vaccination cards and our boosters and all that. I don't want to eat inside with people who haven't been totally vaccinated. So you are not the only one who's betwixt and between insanity. We're all dwelling there and dealing the best we can. So I feel your pain. I feel your pain.
Well, I'm curious about things, and I know we can't answer it here, but one thought came into my mind because it was a cartoon I read a while ago that was like, who would have thought that one day I could walk into a bank with a mask on? And I'm thinking that as these things change, and with my immune situation, I'm just not sure that I'm quite ready to go maskless inside, maskless outside. I'm fine with that most of the time. But I'm curious about, maybe I'm, fatalizing this whole thing, but I'm just curious about, well, can I walk into a bank with my mask on after the mandate and still be okay? I mean, I don't know. It's sort of like all of these, okay, you could take it off, but nobody's saying, what if you don't want to take it off? Will the security guard accost me the minute I walk in the door? I don't think so, being a gray-haired lady, but it's just all these questions that I think more questions now than when it all started in my mind. Because, okay, I'm happy to stay home. I'm happy to do this or that when I'm seeing hospitalization numbers and stuff. But now to me, it's even more like, okay, now what?
Yeah, we are all suffering from that. And if we're not, we should be, because it has been a lot of adapting, a lot of changing. I will tell you that if you're here listening to this show, creating this show, it's like, I think you have to stop and go, wow, take a look at what I've already survived. It has been a time we couldn't even imagine for the last 2 years. And we have survived so much. And have we had losses? Have we had disappointments? Have we had total breakdowns and changes? Yes, but we are here. We are here to complain about it. We are here to ask the questions. So I think you need to give yourself a pat on the back for that. And then as far as the mask goes, I think what we've also learned in the last couple of years is that there are really no rules. And if they are, they're subject to change. So I think you have to go with your gut. You have to say, you know what? I have a compromised immune system. And luckily, when we used to see a person in a mask, it was like, well, I wonder what their problem is. Now it's like, it's so normal that people are having masks that match their outfits. They're dressing them up with sequin. So I don't think you would be stared at quite as much if you went into a bank with a mask on. I hope, that doesn't stand for bank robbers, but for us normal folks. And I think you have to trust your gut on this. And if you go, oh, I don't know, it's like your gut has gotten you through insanity. Your gut has gotten you through pandemic. Your gut has gotten you through constant changes and constant rules and maybe some physical illness, lots of mental adjustments. So your gut's there. You just have to really do what you feel is going to be best for you individually. Yes, we're all in this together, but since they are relaxing the rules, it's like Broadway did open in Manhattan. My thing is, do I feel like sitting in a theater with strangers in a mask for 2.5 hours for, hey, hundreds of dollars? No, I don't. Do I feel like sitting on a cramped airplane? And again, no, not yet. So my gut is telling me, nope, don't do it yet. And I think you have to go with your gut. If your gut's telling you, you know what, I'm not ready, keep that mask on. Dress it up a little if you're bored, but keep it on.
It's funny that I was talking to a friend the other day, and I have a couple of new people on my medical team, and in the past 2 years, and I was thinking, if I saw them on the street or in the store or something without their mask, I may not recognize them because I have not seen anything below here. I mean, it's like, wow, isn't that strange? Who would think that, you could walk by somebody you've been seeing off and on for a couple of years and go.
Well, after a while, I just started, when people would go hi, I go, hey, I had no idea who they were. And it's like, I probably know them, but in New York City, it's weird for somebody to say hi if you don't know them. So it's like, I must know them. So it's like, hey, how you doing? It's like, Had no idea who they were, but it's, you're right. It'll be a whole new, if you met them in a mass, that's how you're gonna, that's your first impression of them. So.
Yes, I've just seen their eyes. Luckily, I'm pretty good with voices. So I think if I heard more than just hey or hi, if I heard like a whole sentence, I might be able to hopefully place them because I'm pretty good with voices. Actually, I'm actually better at voices than I am remembering somebody's face. It's like, say something to me and I'll know who you are.
Well, what New York City doctors and nurses did during the pandemic, when there was an onslaught of people, they would put a picture of themselves on their jacket because they were so, just to humanize, because we all are. They were behind many masks, and just for the patients, just so they could say, here's what I normally look like, and when you hear me smile in my voice, which is so important, this is how I would look. So you're not alone. It's like we're all trying to figure out who's who. Can't hear you. Well, while Sharon's working on the sound here, let's have a little time for reflection. And hopefully she will get it back. A good thing to do while trying to get your equilibrium back with the new changes is just take a minute to write down everything that you feel that you survived and survived and accomplished, because there was a lot of thriving during this time also. So you just write that down, and that should be able to get you started on trusting your gut. Let's see, Sharon, are you back?
I love that idea about trusting my gut. I put on a different headset here.
Trust your gut when you can't be heard.
Oh yeah, that's so, I love Laurie because I'll tell you, she is the host, longtime host of the Coaching Game TV show, as well as she's on YouTube and does podcasting, things like that. So I love that. One time I was on her show, and I remember we weren't in person. We were this was the old days when it was just via phone. We couldn't see each other. And I was talking about, let's just take a moment and breathe. And for whatever reason, my audio cut out then. And it was like, she didn't know when we were supposed to come back. Right? It was like this very long time. Like, okay, how long are we supposed to be breathing here?
A very long breath. I'm going, okay, did Sharon die? Whatever.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I just love technology. Yeah. Anyway, so you were talking about, journaling. You didn't mention journaling. You just mentioned about writing, because I could hear you fine. But about writing, and I do journal, and I kind of got off track recently of doing that. And I really find that I started again last night because I was talking to a medical professional, like, well, how long has that been going on? And I was like, well, if I had kept up with my journaling, I would be able to tell you that. Not like this is like, guys, this is not like a massive thing about, every moment of my day, but I found it helpful, and I have for a long time, to write very specific things that are going on. And so I can see the patterns. It was really important to notice the patterns of what's going on with me physically. But I like this idea of writing things down to notice the patterns of what's going on. Also, maybe as we're coming into another new normal, what's going on with my gut. So I can see the pattern of what my gut's thinking about.
And the benefit your gut, listening to your gut, has given you. Yeah, it's like when we started the new year, everybody was it's like, oh my God, 2021 is over. Hallelujah. Let's look forward. And as a coach, that's my job. Pick it up where it is and let's move forward. But this year, I think it would also benefit us to look backwards and just go, okay, what lessons did we learn? What adjustments did we make? What will we do over? And again, where did we thrive, even in the midst? I mean, the fact that I'm getting ready to have you on my television show, did you know that? I'll just book you right now.
I'm so thrilled to be on it again.
Good. Means that where we used to go to the studio, and we can do it over Zoom now. So that's a blessing of the pandemic, and that's an adaptation that ended up benefiting me and all the people that I've had on from around the world. Empowering in the sense that, wow, did I really do all that? Did I really wear a mask? Did I really really wash my groceries when they came in? Yeah, I did all that crazy stuff for a while. And did I adapt to, as a lesson? And I think there's a couple of, I'm glad you did mention journaling, because that's a good way to get in touch with yourself and your gut. You could also do that reflective journaling. You don't have to write down 10, 24, 8 carrot, who cares? But reflective journaling, and also something that I've swore I could never do, and I am taking not one but 2 classes in meditation. And it's just some mindfulness and meditation, just to calm your brain down. For those who this would work, prayer and fellowship with a faith community. Get involved if you haven't been before. And now you can do it online if you're afraid to go into the big church or whatever. Just plain old relaxation and nature. Just get out. Like you said, you take a morning walk every day, or a walk, I don't know when you take it. Just commune with nature. Nature is pretty cool. It's still out there doing its thing. So there's many ways you can actually enhance and expand your awareness. And this is the time to do that, because you've got a lot of lessons under your belt, whether you realize it or not. So put them to use.
Wow. Thank you so much. I was thinking about some other things that came to mind. And I started noticing the small things and spending time noticing the small things. And I'd always thought I had a fairly decent gratitude practice, but I found that my gratitude practice really soared during this time. And noticing the small things in life became really important to me. And I would love to keep that up. I like how it's turned out. I like the feelings that have happened from it. And so I think that's one of the things. Of course, I had the opportunity to walk more. As you know, I used to travel a lot, kind of a road warrior. And there was a nice blessing in, oh my goodness, I'm home. And at first it was, I'm home, okay, now what? So it'll be interesting to see how that develops. But I think the one thing that I'm working on is keeping my gratitude practice. And I got a chuckle when you said you were doing some meditation. I think part of my gratitude practice was expanding my meditation, doing it more times throughout the day instead of, I used to just do it once a day. And now I broke it up. I found for me to do a couple, 2 to 3 shorter ones throughout the day. And I'm looking forward to keeping that up as well.
Well, I always knew the benefits, and I always would try it. And it's like, I go, just do 5 minutes, Laurie, you can do 5 minutes. No, I could not do it. I couldn't keep my mind still. So I'm using the cheat sheet right now. I'm using guided meditations, but I can see the difference. It really does just calm the chatter down, even if it's just for, half the day, which is not a bad idea. Cut it up and do it twice a day or something like that. Just to get to know yourself. I think what happened was we were full steam ahead in 2019, and then suddenly, oh, hold up, you're by yourself, and it's like, whoa, that can be frightening. It can be depressing. It can be innovating. It's like, now what am I going to do? And like you, I've gotten into antisocial's okay. I don't have to go out and do everything all the time. I've gotten very comfortable, and it's like, I love New York. For a while, I could hear birds chirping in the morning. It's like, what is that? I'm used to sirens, and it was wonderful, and still is in a certain sense. But yeah, meditation and combine that with gratitude, and you can only go further. I mean, it just opens up doors that keep opening up, makes it wider and wider. So I'm hanging in there, and so far I'm doing okay. But yeah, I always knew the benefits. It's like, and now it's like, you will exercise some discipline and sit down and do this, and I do it so far. So I'm okay. I'm good on that.
Okay, fantastic. We need to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll talk to Laurie Lawson about discipline a little bit, because I find that as things, I'm getting more and more, I'll say, opportunity distractions. Some of the things I had been disciplined about are going by the wayside. So we'll talk about maintaining some of the more positive aspects. We'll be right back.
Life Interrupted Radio will return after these messages from our sponsors. It's great sponsors like these that keep this show coming to you every week. Be sure and stop by lifeinterruptedradio.com to learn more.
Your conscious lifestyle on steroids. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hello, I'm Lisa Berry. Join me every Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time for Light on Living. A chance to see new, hear different, and feel more as I shine the spotlight on all the ways to lighten the load of life's challenges. Light on Living is your link to that new way you're looking for, that new understanding that will enhance your life, and that positive connection that will support your growth. So join me and you'll gain insight and start to see things in a new way that motivates you.
OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Listen and imagine. It takes 5 seconds to send a text, and for those 5 seconds, you're driving blind. Life is worth more than a text. Stay alive. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Sharon, and of course you know me from here on the Autoimmune Hour. Maybe you don't know I'm also an author. My latest book is for kids. It's Pinky Chenille and the Rainbow Hunters, a winner of a 5-star Reader's Favorite review. It's perfect for your early reader and a great bedtime story for your young adventurers. Check it out over at pinkychenille.com. That's PinkyChenille.com. See you there.
Well, welcome back from that commercial break. And Laurie and I decided that we needed to reconnect there with the technology. Hopefully we've got our little audio snafus cleaned up there. But we're going to keep going with it because, I just find the topic really critically important right now. And we talked about adapting to another new normal and trusting our gut. And let me introduce you back to Laurie Lawson. She is a certified empowerment coach from the Institute of Professional Excellence in Coaching, as well as a professional certified coach from ICF, and many, many other things. She's also the host of the amazing Coach Chat radio and the Coaching Game TV show. And Laurie, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about after that introduction about adapting to the new normal and getting comfortable with it, trusting our gut, you mentioned the word discipline. And I've noticed even in little bits and pieces, a couple of things that have happened that as more opportunities become available, some of those things that I had adopted as discipline are kind of going by the wayside as I get brand new distractions. I have to be careful because some of them were, I thought, quite helpful. So what do you have as insights onto staying focused and can we use a word besides discipline? I don't know. Staying on track, maybe.
Yeah, no, it does require some discipline. And there are many shiny objects out there right now. And everything looks a little shiny because we've had a pretty lackluster 2 years here. So it's like, and there's a little bit of, I hate to minimize this word, but there's a little bit of survivor guilt. It's like, okay, we made it through. But what did I do in the last 2 years? Did I do anything productive? It's like, oh my God, let me get this class. Let me go here. Let me do this. Let me do that. And I found I was doing that. It's like, well, I've got the time. How can I turn down this and that? And I got some advice from a fantastic coach, Darcy Eichenberg, who's based down in Florida. And she was saying, drop some balls. And it's like, what? And just drop some balls. See if anybody notices or if anybody complains. And if they don't, carry on.
Let the balls lie on the ground.
Yeah, who cares? You were the one who put them in the air, so let them be. So and I did that, and nobody noticed, and nobody complained, and I went, okay. So now what I have done is I come up with a couple of questions before I say yes to anything. And I'm learning to go, let me think about that and I'll get back to you. One is this something I really want to do? Is this going to advance me to the goal that I set in this area? And 3, is this going to give me energy or take my energy away? Because I've gotten used to using less energy and liking it. And it's like, and I don't mind filling the pitcher every now and then with some energy, but I don't want to keep pouring it out on things that I really don't want to do. So I was having the FOMO thing, the fear of missing out. Oh my God, but what if this is the teacher with the answer and it's going to save my life? And it's like, I got to trust in the universe on this one. If it's meant to be, it'll come back again because there's only so much I can do. And I really enjoy, I have my calendar like just jammed to the max. And I enjoy those spaces now. It's like, I like those spaces. I get to meditate a little. I get to do things that I enjoy, take a walk, which I definitely enjoy doing. And so I asked, and I would recommend that everybody get your questions together for yourself. It's like, how is this going to benefit me? Is it going to benefit me? Is it going to take me further where I want to go? Or is it a sidestep? Am I going to be moving to the side instead? And it's okay to move to the side, but don't beat yourself up for not moving forward. If it's like, okay, I'm taking a year, I'm going to move to the side. I'll just do this and this and this. I don't have to go forward. Up to you. But get your questions straight before you answer yes or no to so many things that are out there. A little bit of journaling once again, and a little bit of consciousness or meditation might help you get those questions together easier. And then once you've got them, just post them somewhere. So, when somebody says, can you do this? It's like, let me get back to you and really analyze. Can you do it? Do you want to do it? Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. A couple of things that I've always thought about that is you really have to know the valuable yeses in your life before you know what to say no to. Because oftentimes the people that get the yeses, I've noticed, are the ones that are the most bullying or the loudest or whatever. And the people that I always think, oh, they'll understand, meaning things like family and close friends, are the ones not getting the yeses. I mean, and those are the ones in my mind when I stop and not having other influences going, those are the ones that deserve the more yeses. And yet there's always an excuse like, oh, well, I'll do it. And then I have to tell somebody close in my world, sorry, putting it off or whatever like that. And so for me, getting very clear, writing down, getting very clear on who, what, where, when things are my major yeses. And if it doesn't fit in those chat box, it gets a very quick no.
Good for you. Yeah. And you could always say, I love that you said, eventually you have to tell people, I really can't do that. That's another question. How am I going to feel in 2 weeks if I say yes now? Am I going to be pressured because I have a deadline? And so as these questions come up, write them down. It's like, what concerns do you have about it? And pros and cons, weigh it.
Well, and I think we also call those boundaries at one time.
Not erased every now and then. I was like, oh, this is, but this isn't bad. To establish boundaries that can be taken down, because as we've learned in the last 2 years, where the game changes. So the game changes, or sometimes you have a ball, sometimes you have a racket. You don't even know what you're playing. But yeah, so just make the boundaries a little flexible so you can adapt them as the times get a little crazy. Yeah.
You know what I find interesting as I'm more retrospective on myself and thinking let's say 2019, change to me was constantly around me and constantly happening. And yet I wasn't thrown off here or there by the change. And yet I think it was the acceleration of the change, and that it was everyone around me was changing at the same accelerated pace that seemed to throw me off. But I'd stop and think, and I'm like, but you've survived decades of change, Sharon. please just slow yourself down, breathe through it. You've survived decades of change. This is a different change, but you've experienced different changes in your life. I was trying to use that method but I found that helpful just to keep reminding myself of like, look, you've survived decades of change.
Definitely. I think the difference is that we were playing by the rules. We do that. This is the goal. And this is the next step. And suddenly the rules, there were no rules. It's like, oh, this is new and we're making our own rules. And so the change seemed much, much bigger to us because we were in the land of the unknown. It's like, what is going on?
And I have to put in their life and death kinds of things.
Well, I was going to say, you had fear. You had genuine fear. Am I going to get sick? Or is someone I love going to get sick? It's like, so in addition to dealing with change, you're dealing with the mental change. It's like, oh, I can't go see my friends. I can't go out. What's going on? To the physical change. It's like, whoa, what do I do to protect myself? It looks like nobody seems to know right now. I'm on my own. So the change was definitely bigger, much bigger than the game change, where my clients in 2019 were trying to get to the next advanced state of their career, or they wanted that corner office, or they wanted more money, and they wanted to lose weight. I mean, whatever it was, suddenly we were back to life and death, like you said. And it's like, wait a minute, all that stuff went to the side. And it's like, okay, we're in survival mode. And I'm going to keep saying there are benefits to the pandemic. But a benefit of that is that we realized that we were living kind of a privileged life, but there are people out there who live that life all the time. It's like a survival mode, life and death. How am I going to get to the next day? And for a while, I hope we're going to continue. We redefined essential. What is an essential worker? It's not the Wall Street guy. It's the guy who's going to bring in your groceries. It's the guy who isn't afraid to get in a taxi and drive you somewhere. So we redefined that and we appreciated it. And I hope that's a lasting benefit. The change was monumental. It wasn't just, you dealt with change. And I know you dealt with some serious changes all along. This is one, it was universal. There was nobody you could really go, well, I want to be like him. I just want to survive, Right now, I want to survive. That's my goal. And we changed our values, some of them lasting, which some were good, there were benefits.
Yeah, well, we'll see where it goes. That's for sure. I also wanted to talk to you about, as we come through this, a lot of this stuff is about making meaning. We talked about, we'll come through this and some of the things, and about making meaning and understanding how people around us make different meanings. And I've always found that interesting. It seems to be a lot of different polarizations now and understanding of making meanings. But I find that even the show to me was a way of making meaning of my early diagnosis. Making meaning was to bring the show out to help other people I'm thinking, well, I can't be the only person that has these questions.
Wow. Well, that's kind of my premise. It's like, okay, well, there's a great quote that, life is a teacher to the wise and an enemy to the fool.
Oh, I love that.
Isn't that great? I'm sure I didn't make it up. I still quote all the time. But I think it was Carl Jung, really. But and it's like, if nothing else, let these last 2 years be, what did I learn? What did I learn? What can I do differently? How can I improve? What do I know now I didn't know then? It's going to take courage. It took courage for us to sit at home alone and look at ourselves and go, wow, where are we? Well, I'm in the land of scary. And what do I do while I'm here? And I would say, keep in mind that the dirt road leads to the diamond mine. So it's going to be rough and bumpy and dirty and dusty to get there. But the reward will be, hopefully, you'll get to the diamond mine. So you're not going to get a 3-lane paved highway there. That doesn't happen with diamond mines. So I think it's like how to make meaning. I really think it's what your perspective is. It's like, if indeed you believe that, my life is over and my dreams are gone, you're not going to have meaning for a while. You're going to have to really just ask yourself, how else can I look at this? How else can I view what has just happened, which is catastrophic, and it could be anything that just happened. But what did I learn? what did I learn? What would I do over? Because that's the lesson. It's like, okay, next time, hopefully there isn't one, but next time I'll do this. And if you're having trouble, one of my favorite techniques is if you're having trouble figuring out, I don't know what to do. We love to give advice. So ask yourself, what would I tell my husband? What would I tell my mother? What would I tell my best friend if she was in this situation? And then listen, tell it to yourself and see what meaning you can get out of that. It's what can make this, I think it was Sonia Riccati who said, this is the worst thing. My whole life is crumbling in front of me and I have no idea where I'm going, but I'm going to tell you things are going to get better because there is no way in hell I went through all this crap for no reason. I'm going to make it be a reason. And I said, you know what, that's a good philosophy to have. It's like, okay, if I got to go through this, I'm going to get something out of it. So think about it that way. Get defiant, fight back.
When you mention that, I kind of think of this show as that, when it's like, there's no way I'm going through this and not making it mean something.
There's got to be something going on here. Yeah. And thank heavens that you did, because look at all the people you've benefited. And and I love what you're doing because you're bringing new concepts well, to us, they're new. To you, you probably figured them out because I know you're a big researcher and
well, they were new back then. Yeah. It's becoming standard place now to talk about long-term chronic conditions and previous trauma. But when I started this in 2014, yes, there were researchers, Stephen Porteous, Dr. Bezel van de Kolk, there were researchers out there exploring this, but it takes a while for things to become a little more mainstream. And one of the huge benefits in my healing, and I know in a lot of my listeners too, is bringing on people such as yourself and Sarah Payton and Dr. David Clark, other people that talk about more than just healing the physical body, that there's more to us that needs to be looked at and checked out and maybe polished up a little bit. And even if it's just a little bit at a time, I always talk about optimizing a little bit every day instead of like, oh my gosh, I have to go from here to over there.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. In fact, I just got a brand new quote unquote diet. It's not to lose weight or anything, but I was having a few food sensitivities and things. And when I looked at it in its entirety, 3 pages of small type, I was like, oh. And so I went to one of my beautiful medical team and I said, I don't know where to start. I mean, I'm looking at 3 11-point type pages, I'm like, and it was wonderful because to have someone by your side. And then I love you said talk, what would you say to your friends? I thought, well, I just tell my friend here's the question, ask me the question and I will solve it for myself by telling you what to do. And that's kind of what I did with my beautiful medical team member. I said, okay, here's 3 pages. What's the most important in this page that I can do right now? Because I can't do all 3 pages of this right now. It's just overwhelming.
That's brilliant. And well, first of all, we used to do, what's our long-term goal? What is our 6-month goal? What is our year goal? What is our 5-year plan? Oh my God. Forget about it. We don't know what the next day. We're thinking maybe in New York, we don't have to have a vaccination proof to get into a restaurant. We don't know. You don't know what's happening with the man. So the long term is fine. Again, make it flexible because we just don't know what's around the corner. But yeah, just the small goals, incremental, and give yourself something that you can celebrate every day. Every day at the end of the day, just go, well, what did I do really cool today? And it could just be, I took a walk and I didn't get winded, or I went up 5 flights of stairs. Well, that will never be me, but I went up a flight of stairs. Let's not get crazy. And I managed it, just something very small, and doing it in increments. Do your accomplishments in increments. Do your goals in increments, and tell yourself, I'm allowing for flexibility. It's not that I'm afraid of that big goal, but I'm just allowing for flexibility and adaptation, because who knows when you're going to need it again. So
it's funny you bring up flexibility. I don't know who originally said it, so I'm just going to say unknown, because, but the wisdom's deeply appreciated. I know where I heard it, but I know she wasn't the originator of the quote. Was blessed are the flexible, for they shall not be bent out of shape.
Oh, I want a card that says that. I love that.
And I'm just like, yeah, I just so many of those sorts of things I've had to kind of keep in my handbook. And another one was Michael Grinder, who taught me a lot of, about communication, and he's been my mentor for 25 plus years. He always talks about surprise being the enemy of competence. And so I think about that, and he's in the business world, and understanding, preparing yourself for change and surprise. But we think about that all the time. Whenever I'm surprised, there are moments, sometimes longer moments, because I'm trying to figure out what just happened. But there is several moments where it's like time freezes and you're like, okay, I don't know what to do. And just giving myself grace in those areas, realizing that that's a fairly universal type response and things like that, that it's not a deficit in myself, has been important.
Well, yes, it's a great time to go get some tea with oat milk. Is that what you were drinking?
Yeah, I'm going to have a sip, by the way.
And calm down a little bit. I found one of the most helpful things, Lord knows where I read it, but it was an advertisement. One word can change your life. I'm going, yeah, right. Okay. And it turns out that it's like, instead of saying I have to, you say I get to. And suddenly everything is an opportunity. It's like, oh my God, I have to learn this new thing. And oh my God, technology. I have to figure out why I can't be heard. It's like, oh, I get to figure out what happened to my sound and how can I fix it, which you did beautifully.
Well, I have several others of those though, because in a goal, if you're stating, I get to do this, or I have to do this, or this is a goal of mine, I always add or better at the end of it. Yeah. So what other words can we say? Just one more word.
Yeah. Instead of saying, this will never work, say, let's try this another way. What's a different way we could try this, instead of, because what you did, suddenly you had on headphones and it was like, oh, this is working. I love to use Sharon as an example. And technology, because you could always count on that to mess up.
For sure.
I don't like to be challenged. I hate when I don't know. It's like, oh, I want to challenge myself. Tell yourself that. It's like, this is something that's going to really challenge. Or I'm not very good at this, and it's like, wow, this is a great time to learn what I'm not very good at. So there are so many ways you could just flip it around and make it to your benefit rather than make yourself all stressed. How can I flip this and make it, this is going to be for my benefit, and it's going to be enhancing to me, energy providing, knowledge providing. Come up with your own phrase.
I like that. A couple other words came to my mind is replacing but with and. So if somebody's talking to you and you go, yes, but, say and. And the other one that came to mind was all about this idea of yet. Maybe we're saying, I don't do that. I don't play the violin. And then I catch myself and just say, yet.
I love that. Yeah. I don't know how to master my computer yet, but there's still hope.
We're working on it.
We're trying. Oh, I love that. Wow.
Just coming up ways to sort of reframe those thoughts that are less empowering to us and turn them into ways that set us on the road to empowering ourselves to get where we want to go. I think that's critically important. Empowerment coach, I love the term. I think it can be defined so many ways. What are a couple of things that have surprised you as you encourage people to empower themselves?
Well, I think the adaptation, and how not easily, but how willing people were to work on it, because certainly that became the issue. It's like, oh my God, how am I going to advance it? How am I going to keep my job? What is my job? And I think the people that arrived during this time were the most curious. It's like, okay, I'm going through something. I don't know what it is, but what can I do about it? Where are my powers? And then where are things that there's no sense of beating your head against unless you had a cure for COVID. What are your responsibilities and what are? So I think empowering yourself to, one, recognize your talents that will see you through. And I'm not talking about that you can add a column of figures up and make it all make sense. That is definitely a talent. But I'm talking about the talents like resilience, adaptation, adaptability, I guess is what I want. Universality. It's like seeing that you're not, this isn't happening to you personally, this is happening to everybody, and feeling that bond with people. Whatever your special talents are, humor. God knows we needed humor during it. I think the late night shows got me through a lot of it. It's like, yes, let's laugh at this insanity. And it's just what talents got you through. Again, looking back, and looking back is okay. It's fine, because what you're going to do is celebrate yourself. So looking back and saying, what were my special talents that got me through? It really wasn't that you're human resources director. You might have used some of the skills that you did in that career, but what were your personal talents that got you through? And then enhancing them. It's like, well, okay, maybe things are getting better, but how can I bring them into whatever I'm going to be doing in the future? These are valuable talents. I don't want to lose them. How can I practice them? How can I strengthen them? How can I use them? So it's a deep dive into yourself. And I think there's a Facebook thing. It's like everything you want is just beyond your comfort zone, right out there, right? So get out of your comfort zone and go get what you want. That's kind of the empowerment, but it's all within you. You can tell me what you learned, Sharon, but if I don't adapt it it doesn't mean anything. It starts with you and it ends with you. It's all about you.
It is, in a really loving, wonderful way, because I feel you have to have yourself together. You have to heal yourself before you can be of service to others. It's really important that when I was definitely in the throes of the worst part of it, it becomes very clear I've got to focus on myself and myself only at this moment, because nothing else matters if I don't make it through this. And then I think you can get really clear on what's important to you as you have these life-changing moments and these universal life-changing moments that we've been through. And I don't know why I keep thinking of all these quotes I learned from people through my journey here. I love quotes like you do. He used to say, he's no longer with us, passed a few years ago, but he used to say, Sharon, if you're not on the edge of your comfort zone, you're taking up too much space. I was like, it took me a while to really figure out what he meant by that. He was an old cowboy. And I think through this whole change, this universal change we've gone through, it really made sense to me what he was talking about. And I love your comment about curiosity, having a great curiosity, because another one of his quotes was about, he'd always text me like, have a wonder-filled, with a hyphen, a wonder-filled, wonderful day. And he was very serious about that. Like, if you're not having wonder in your day, you're not doing something right.
Absolutely. Yeah. And conversely, don't be afraid if you've got the shadows and the darkness. I will quote, and I never thought I would quote Lady Gaga, but I'm going to, who says, if you don't have shadows and darkness, you're not standing in the light. It's like, so, welcome them. It's like, oh, okay, I'm in the light, but here's a little bit of shadow here. So what am I going to do with it, But I love the wonder-filled day, definitely with curiosity. And I guess I would say, don't be afraid to be, and for lack of a better word, selfish. It's like you said, if you didn't take care of yourself, what's the point? So you got to really, you might want to be a people pleaser. You might feel that this is your goal in life, to be of service, but your first goal in life is to be of service to yourself, so that you can help other people and you can bring them whatever knowledge you have and whatever inspiration or whatever support they need. But if you don't take care of yourself first and you think, oh, I need to focus outward, focus inward. That's where the answers are, and that's where the strength is.
Oh, well, we're just about out of time, Laurie. How do people find out more about you and Coach Chat and the Coaching Game Show?
Well, let's see. They can find me on Facebook, of course, and LinkedIn. Just Laurie Lawson, Lawson, and Laurie's Laurie. And I have a website that's Laurie Lawson-ELJ, which is empoweredlifejourneys.com. So Laurie Lawson-ELJ.com. That'll do it.
Fantastic. Thank you, my friend, for being on the show. I knew you would help me recenter myself. You always do. Everyone, that's Laurie Lawson. We'll have her URL for her website up on understandingautoimmune.com page, where you can listen to the show again and share the link with your friends, as well as you'll find us on Facebook under Understanding Autoimmune, as same as Twitter and all the other social media places out there. Find us at Understanding Autoimmune and understandingautoimmune.com. Everyone, have a great week. Whatever your adventures, join me next week for another brand new episode. Enjoy.
The information provided on the Autoimmune Hour, Understanding Autoimmune, and Life Interrupted Radio, including the websites understandingautoimmune.com and lifeinterruptedradio.com, plus social media, is for educational purposes only. What you read, hear, and see on the Autoimmune Hour, Understanding Autoimmune, and Life Interrupted Radio, and its websites, and other media outlets is based on experience only. The information should never be used for any legal, diagnostic, or treatment purposes.
Research shows we apologize up to 10 times a day, and most of the time, we say sorry as a response to someone else's mistake. What if we thanked people instead of all that unnecessary apologizing? So instead of saying, sorry, I'm rambling, you say, thank you for listening. Join us at projectforgive.com, a free, non-religious resource on global forgiveness.
Your conscious lifestyle on steroids. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Change and growth are part of natural life, and also part of your spiritual life. Everyone needs support and guidance, especially during life passages. Upgrade yourself with the OMTimes Experts program. With OMTimes Experts, you have access to the best intuitive coaches, spiritual teachers, counselors, astrologists, and oracles. Our team was carefully selected so you can trust. Find out more at experts.omtimes.com.
Grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine and tune in for Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. Linda creates sacred space for leading female luminaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. A soulful venue where guests openly share the fears and obstacles they've overcome, wisdom and lessons learned, and the personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic, soulful living.
Do you want to be a better leader? Have better relationships? Become more self-aware? Be a better communicator? Hi, I'm Sharon Sayler, best-selling author, professional speaker, and executive coach. And my life passion is empowering professionals to be the best that they can be. After years of working with professionals, I've discovered the 7 things nobody is telling you that can cost you your clients, sales, and even your career. And I want to give it to you free. You've heard my show, you know my passion, and maybe we'll be working together sooner rather than later. So go grab this ebook now to find out the 7 things that's costing you big time over at SharonSayler.com/radio gift.